Hi, Linda Kay Gifford here, and I'm kind of feeling disjointed tonight, making notes and thinking about stuff. So I thought I'd just come on and give you an update to my friends. So I had COVID back in November, and I haven't been coming on and talking about it since I mostly recovered. But I gotta say that yes, to those who have asked, there are residual effects. I'm still feeling a ringing in my ears, hearing this ring. Sometimes I hear like sounds turn into bells. I hear jangly sounds, and I feel shaky when I close my eyes all the time. So I haven't completely gotten over, I guess, the neurological effects of COVID. So far, so good on everything else. So that's good. So I just wanted to catch up. I've been working intensively with my developing my Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund. And so I like to come on and talk to you about that, tell you about that. We have applied for nonprofit status, and it'll be in soon. Right now, there is a Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund on GoFundMe and on Facebook. And what we are doing is raising money to provide rescue transport to victims of sexual abuse and human trafficking. And many of you know, and I'm gearing this way actually in my live streams, rather than just talk about politics and social things and whatever I want to, for whatever reason I feel like. Because like I've said many times, I know I'm not special or anybody to listen to. I just like to talk to you, and I am mostly isolated. And I enjoy. Basically, I feel that we have to change the world, and I'm going to try to do my little part with my little 15 minutes of fame, my little chunk of media, and anybody who will listen. And my book coming out, Linda Kay Gifford Self-Talk Facebook page by the same name, has the excerpt. First 7 chapters actually are pinned to the top, and it is talking about what it's like for many of us, roughly 1 in 3. My experience is as an ongoing intense problem that lasted for years. My childhood, a few less people, but we're still like 1 in 6 there. So this thing we hide, I just want to start bringing it out, and I want to start talking about all the weird things I think about and all the things that I made. At this point in my life, I've made realizations that help me live a better, more full life. So I feel compelled to share them with you. It started out just wanting to warn people what to look out for. I'm in the process of suing my childhood abuser because there's no statute of limitations in the state of Missouri where I grew up. But it doesn't. No, you don't have to go confront your abuser. If you want to, yay, do it. If you don't, fine. But you do need to confront your own. I do, at least. You, the universal you. Don't think I'm speaking to you in the directive. I don't want to be like that. But if one does what I have done slowly over years, sometimes with conscious effort and sometimes by the luck of the universe with a lucky draw, a relationship that teaches relationships, I feel like it's progressions of experience, and can't discount ones you've had just because you have better ones now. On the other hand, when you have better ones, you should never go back. And by better ones, I mean ones that put you on a journey of self-discovery, mentally, physically. I've talked about this a lot, and I'm going to dwell on this a lot. I'm going to say it again. Your daughters need to be taught that their sexual satisfaction is important. They shouldn't be taught that they go into marriages blind and take what they get. That's not fair. It's condemning someone to a lifetime of possibly having no chemistry with someone else, no matter how nice or successful or whatever right you think they are. And I'm just, I'm really, I could go off on so many tangents when I think of how my life has been affected by trying to be what somebody else wanted me to be. And that even though I was a progressive, liberal, hippie girl, whatever, I was still subconsciously defining myself by standards of purity that don't exist, that are stupid. But that's all I'm going to say about that. I've talked about that before. We'll get into some of that stuff more. I really want to see what other people have to say about it. But hey, how about that? We've got a congresswoman who is a member of QAnon. Is democracy a failed experiment? Is it? I'm beginning to think it is, and that breaks my heart. Sometimes I think I'm glad my mom and dad died before they lived to see this day. Democracy relies on an educated population. If a large portion of the population is not educated, then it's just a numbers game with life and death, planetary issues, global issues, issues of war and peace. That's unacceptable. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, my vote, my please, I pray that you will all raise all the concern you possibly can, anywhere you can in your lives. Call your congressman, make Facebook posts, do what you need to do. But we can't have people who honestly can look at a man whose daughter was killed in Parkland and tell him that he should be ashamed for being part of the conspiracy, and then walk into our Congress and have a vote, have a say. I'm sickened and I'm scared. I'm talking calm because I feel like a corkscrew pressed to the ground right now. I'm not calm at all. Truly terrified. And I think everybody needs to calmly deal with this terrifying threat. So, the 2024 election started on essentially November 3rd of this year. So, don't get too comfortable. We celebrated last week. I live streamed champagne and the inauguration and had some fun and talked about it and had a party. I'm drinking coffee tonight because we have work to do. Speaking of work to do, feelgoodfairtrade.com. I've got new collections, new products, shipping in 2 to 5 days. If you have any Valentine's needs, please support my store, feelgoodfairtrade.com, because we support women in over 20 countries. We have over 40 suppliers, and many of them are rescue groups, rescue victims of human trafficking, and those, especially in India, who are being given an alternative to sex work. Beautiful artisan products, reasonable prices. We cooperatively warehouse in the States, so we ship to you in under a week. So 2 to 5 days on average. So do check out feelgoodfairtrade.com, please, for me. That is my business. It is how I keep a roof over my head and feed my children. and help support women artists all over the world. So, yes, that's my business. But really, my focus is turned to my son's helping me with the marketing on that, and my focus is turning to finishing my book, Self-Talk. I'm having a lot of intense conversations with the people I'm closest to in my life, especially my partner, who is a brilliant person who has helped me a lot and led me into a few chapters of understanding. And I was thinking of I made a pledge. I made a pledge for my book that I wanted everyone to take. I think I would have looked something like that up ahead of time, wouldn't you? But that would have been like planned and organized. I make notes, but then I don't really use them because I don't really have the time. But here we go. Here's my pledge. Here's the pledge. If you're a survivor of sexual abuse, as I've said many times, and I'm going to say many more times, the shame is not yours. And you need to get that in your head. And it's true, the mantras work. If you wake up every morning and say something to yourself and make yourself do it, write it down, put it on a piece of paper, put it on the nightstand, pick it up and say it. Even if you feel stupid, pick it up and say it. Look in the mirror and say it, even if you feel stupid. You know what I say almost every morning in my life? And my father taught us to do this. And call me a dork, but it works. I say, you have to clap too. It's a wonderful day to go out and take advantage of all that life has to offer. My dad was a minister and a counselor, and he gave up the ministry because he was very progressive, but he was still very spiritual. And that's a thing he taught us that was really, seemed silly at the time, but especially now that he's dead and Mom's dead, I do it. And you know what? You can't help but feel it. I laugh at myself, but I got teary-eyed. Because no matter how bad it is, it's still good. It's worth saving. However bad it is, we have to keep making it better. And my little slice of the world, I decided, was to try to make it better for women. Because having had so much of what one would consider, woman growing into your womanhood, people make jokes about my friend made a joke about, fuck like teenagers, pardon my language, and I'm like, when I was a teenager, I was being sexually abused by someone not in, but close, in, but not a blood relative in my family. And I was avoiding any actual sex, if I got in situations like that, I'd get myself out of them one way or the other. So I missed that. And I kind of feel like I'm re-experiencing it, or experiencing it for the first time now. So that's fun. That's nice at my age, but that's a whole other thing. So pledge being number 1, with that being the prep. I will never again be ashamed of the sexual abuse I withstood in the past. The shame belongs to my abusers. So get that in your head. And get that in your head for your daughters or your friends or whatever. It's never their fault. It's never someone's fault. It's never a teenager's fault. An adult who has sex with a teen, it's never the child's fault. And even adults, it's not possible to be your fault. It's not possible, even if you know it's not your fault, and many people do, the next thing you have to get rid of is the shame. Because what I've discovered just recently is that shame was keeping me in a weird sexual pattern of, how do I say? I started fearing having to have sex, just wanting to get it over with, learned to pretend like I liked it. Then I learned how to drive for the end, it's just the end game. This is over years, kind of thing. It's a pattern, and everything seemed better and everything seemed stronger and more powerful than what it used to be, which was completely being overwhelmed and manipulated and raped by a pervert as a child. So when you have this ingrained shame, you apply it even when you feel good. So even when you feel good, it triggers feeling ashamed. And that makes for a fucked up sex life, I'm telling you. So the first thing you have to do, or not the first thing you have to do is accept that it's not your fault. So that was the first step. I will never again be ashamed of the sexual abuse I withstood in the past. The shame belongs to my abusers. So that was where we started. But then we move on to, I will never again be ashamed of my sexual desire. So how do you do that? Well, here's the qualifier on that pledge statement. I will work to uncouple sexual yearnings from shame and fear. I will work. And it is work. You're not going to just fall into it, although it took me falling into a relationship with a special person to make these discoveries. That's how life is. So you take them where you get them. And I've made them, and maybe I can impart some of them to you so that you don't have to wait to luck out. And you can seek it for yourself. I will never again be ashamed of my sexual desire. I will work to uncouple sexual yearnings from shame and fear. And the way that you can do that, the way I do that, is I advocate. That's why I do this. I do this because I still have it, and I have to fight it. And this makes me feel powerful and strong. And like I'm doing my part to try to make sure less people and eventually nobody looks at little girls and women as objects or extensions or accessories or commodities to be traded and bought and sold and at best rescued. We are autonomous beings, and we need to teach our daughters, and the only way we can teach our daughters and our sisters and our mothers to be these people is to become them ourselves. And so I encourage you to become that yourself. And I have like tears of joy, really. I get emotional, but my tears aren't of sadness. My tears are about the emotion of thinking back to where I was when I didn't know I had a problem or that I needed to work on, overcoming triggers in my life. Triggers led me astray. I can't even blame all of my relationship failings with other people on them completely because I didn't understand myself and my own triggers at that time. Nor did I share what happened to me in the past with anybody else, which is why the first step of my pledge I made is I will put the abuse where it belongs. I will put the shame on my abuser because otherwise I can't go on and neither can you. So just do it. It's done. Boom. If you got a problem with that, I'm a life coach. I work with people one-on-one and in groups now. You can message me through my Facebook page, Linda Kay Gifford Self-Talk. So, just wanted to let you know that you're never going to be okay, but you're not fucked up either. You're not damaged. You're just a person with your experiences, just like everybody else who, like I said in my last live stream, everyone's got their cross to bear. It's just an unpleasant fact. But You know, we make up all kinds of cliches, it'll make you stronger and whatever. The way I look at it is it'd be much better. I don't think we need adversity to be strong. I think we have to be strong because we have adversity. I'd love to see a society where everybody's provided for. And this is why I'm worried that democracy is a failed experiment. And if it is, it's really messed up for women, for the future of women, and for the future of women being treated as equals, because it relies on a progressive ticket. So if more people are uneducated, back to the top of what I was saying when I started this, if more people are uneducated than not, then I can no longer feel that we can go with a majority vote kind of situation. I mean, we already need to abolish the Electoral College, and then we should be relatively okay. But I'm still just disgusted. There's only 13 million vote difference. How could that many million people, what was it, 74 in the end, vote for Trump? How? I'm preaching to the choir, so I'm not going to try to explain it, because you all know. You can explain it to me probably better than I can explain it to you. But so in a completely rhetorical way, I say, how? And that leaves me feeling like, okay, there's calm after the storm right now, but there's another storm a brewing, already continuing to go, and I just want to keep everybody focused, or ask everyone to stay focused politically, especially pay attention to electoral, to the need to change the Electoral College system. We need to put money into that. You can go to Act Blue and donate. That's a good place to put money into it. Definitely. But I'm just concerned. So, the last step of the pledge, because I tangent, to reiterate, first step, I will never again be ashamed of the sexual abuse I withstood in the past. The shame belongs to my abusers. The second step in the pledge, I will never again be ashamed of my sexual desire. I will work to uncouple sexual yearnings from shame and fear. And we're going to do that. That's a process. Talk a little bit more about that before I close. Third step of the pledge, I will never again put anyone else's sexual needs above my own. I am an autonomous being, not a commodity. I talked about that a little bit, but I didn't give you the last actual pledge statement. I will never again put someone else's sexual needs above my own. And you know why? Because they will never truly be happy if you're not truly happy. They'll never achieve. If you really love that person, they're not going to achieve the heights they could if you don't. And if you don't see yourself as a sexual being, you're going to withdraw from that person. And if they are, I've seen so many relationships break up over sex. People say it's money and whatever. It's falling. They say they fall out of love, but what they fall out of is passion. They fall out of passion. The love remains, but the passion is gone. So, passion can't substitute for love, but if you have a moral base, if you teach yourself and your children to care and to feel and to be empathetic and to look at another person as a human being, then to me the passion is essential, because if I feel all those warm, fuzzy, love to talk to you, find you fascinating, interesting, love to hang out with you, but if I don't have passion, then you're my friend, as I've said before. And I worry about people, so many people stuck in relationships where they seem more like friends. They've become friends with their spouse, and then it's almost glorified. And it's like, I want other people's thoughts on this. To me, I don't think I just can't do it. I can't do it. I crave passion and I will have it, or I'm good alone. I'm fine. You know, I'm passionate about a lot of things in my life, but I'm not going to waste my time pretending, I don't know, to live happily ever after with someone I'm not passionate about. But I'd have to say more than 50% of the couples I know do. And so that baffles me. And if you're one of them, I'd like to hear from you down the road. Or I'm not going to be on here long tonight, but if you have something to say, let me know. Sherry, also, when is it okay to carry firearms in a government building? Yeah, when is it okay to carry firearms in a government building? What kind of bullshit is that? Tangenting off from on a comment here I saw. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And like Nancy Pelosi said, and it's jarring, it's shocking as an American citizen to hear Nancy, the Speaker of the House, say the enemy is within. You know, they're like, they say, oh, we need him to protect ourselves. If this happens again, we'll have firearms to protect ourselves. And she says, the enemy is within. And it's true. The enemy is within. I can't believe this happened. I can't believe we're at this point. Everyone's shaking their head saying that. But here's the deal. I want to get through to you. It's like, it's happening. It's on. You don't have to like it. I don't have to like it. But it's on. For the first time since, forever. I wrote it down, but I can't remember when. We have a threat level from white people. Domestic terrorist threat. White Americans are our terrorist threat that the nation is on a high alert for. Feed the children, save the children. They're collecting money for American children. And while they argue over details, 30 million Americans can't feed their families tonight. I'm sorry, that just truly moves me. It's messed up. So, let's not sit back and be happy for what little we gained. We got our foot in the door. Now we're going to have to work to open the door, and that's generations of work. That's not just this election or the next election. It's a lifelong. So we have to teach our children well, as the song says. Teach your children well. Teach your daughters to be full-fledged human beings, and that their desire and their wants are important, and that they're just as smart. You know, I was in a preschool. I'm going to throw on here. I was in, my father's was studying at Mizzou on his master's degrees. One of them was psychology, ancient history, theology, psychology. And I went to like preschool at the lab rat place, you know, and they were careful not to use feminine and masculine terms, you know, to not say you're pretty, or, you know, pretty to girls and smart to boys. It was always very autonomous, and that's how the researchers worked. And then they studied us and our development for a few years. And I'm really grateful for that. And I think that we all need to do that. One thing that they did learn, incidentally, I became a developmental researcher for the Center for Applied Research and Behavioral Analysis, which we call the Toddler Center because that's a mouthful, at the University of Kansas in Lawrence. and we were studying 1.5 to 2.5-year-olds under Todd Riesling's program. He has a worldwide book called The Toddler Book, translated into many languages and still the worldwide standard in toddler behavior and what works, how best to do it. So I was honored to be a researcher there. My friend Robin Frankenfeld, she was also one of us. And I just thought it was kind of interesting that I ended up studying children in the way that I was. And part of, it was, again, being gender nonspecific. Everybody had dolls and toys. Everybody was beautiful. Everybody was smart. So I'm just going to edge everybody that direction. And I'm focusing right now on explaining to people what you can do. Because my little corner of the world, my little corner of experience where I have the most to offer, I've discovered is, oddly enough, based around the thing I hid my whole life, and that's the fact that I was abused for several years of my childhood sexually, and it's led me on this journey where I feel now that I can understand and help some people. People are telling me I'm being helpful, so I'm going to continue to try to be helpful. If I can be helpful to you, please let me know. You can message me here. Just checking in, like I said, and telling you my thoughts, thoughts of things. These are the thoughts that then get elaborated on in my book. I call it Linda Kay Gifford Self-Talk, but the full title is My Continuing Efforts to Survive Childhood Sexual Abuse, because, as I've said before and I'll say again, it's a process. There's no graduation date, but you can learn to avoid. You can learn how to handle it. I had a trigger myself this very morning. And here's the most useful coping technique I have. So I said I was going to teach you some coping techniques. And here's one that works for any kind of PTSD. And it works. It does. And it sounds stupid. But if you are a person, it doesn't sound stupid. If you have PTSD, you're going to get this. And if you've been sexually abused and you're fighting demons in your mind that take over your mind, for me, my mind sometimes goes and it feels like it's a racquetball court. Like the thoughts are ricocheting. I sleep 3 to 5 hours a night, usually more on the 3 end. I can't shut my brain down for longer than that. It's hard. And this happens to when people with PTSD of any kind are triggered, and there's a way to pull out of it before you go full out migraine. You know what I mean? You cry and cry until you get upset or angry or enraged or cry or whatever your way of handling it is until you get a migraine. Your brain's going to explode, and that stops you because the pain is greater than your emotional pain. Yeah. I'm writing about that now, and I know you understand me. So here's what you do. You start by saying your name. I am Linda Kay Gifford. You say whatever comes to mind that's real. Grasp at the real things in your mind. There's a ball bouncing around in there. There's thoughts ratcheting around, and fears and worries and worse. Sometimes suicidal thoughts. I mean, I don't have those anymore, but I've been there when I was young. So get a grip, and what you get a grip on is anything. If you're looking at something like right now, that's a basket, that's a shiny doorknob, that's a window. My name is Linda Gifford. It's 2021. I am drinking coffee. I state everything real and just keep doing it, and that will help bring yourself back to a point. Then just breathe. Once you get your head together enough to where you are more in the present than the past, then use breathing and keep telling yourself. You have to coach yourself. People, we reach to drugs, we reach to alcohol, we reach to other people, And by all means, reach out to people when you need help. Reach out to talk, get a counselor, talk to your friend. But I mean, we reach out also in unhealthy ways. And I have done all of the above. We reach out in make sexually bad decisions, sometimes emotionally bad decisions, so many things that we do because of not finding our center. And when you're full on triggered with some kind of a PTSD experience, you start at finding your center. And your center is reality. So name what you see, name what you see, name what you see. And then consider to yourself that there's no shame in what you're feeling, that you're feeling what everybody feels. This is the big thing for me. I thought it was only me. When I got older and learned how many people were sexually abused and looked around me and think that, oh my God, so many people walking around with these same suppressed emotions. Well, we have to give voice to it so we can stop it. Will you help me do that? Will you? Go to Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund on GoFundMe or Facebook. Give anything you can. We're going to rescue people in immediate trouble and provide rescue transport for them. You can help support women at my store. We're going on 4 years now online. feelgoodfairtrade.com used to be Seasonal Fair, but we changed names, changed ownership to me. And we sell products from women artisans in from over 40 groups, many rescues, and in over 20 countries. I mentioned that earlier. So let's everyone do your part, whatever your part is. My part, turns out, is helping women and girls both take care of themselves, feed themselves, their families, and also, worldwide and in a community sense to, God damn it, I'll change this world before I leave it. I will. I'm going to earn my carbon, water, and air. Something I feel I need to do. You take care. I'm going to say goodnight. I'm feeling this COVID ringy, dizzy thing going on all the time. It just never stops, I'll tell you. When was it? November. I was getting over it, like, towards the end of November, December. It's been 2 months, and it's still ringy ear and shaky brain. When I close my eyes, everything's feels like it's vibrating. But they say it has faded. It has gotten better. So I trust it will continue to. So lay low, people. The reason I tell you that is not to whine, but people are like, oh, it's great that you got it and got over it. It's like, actually, I have ongoing symptoms that I'd really like to hear the world without the ringing. And it's not just the normal whiny ringing in the ear, like normal for sometimes, come and go. This is all the time. And then there's also a bell, a clangy. Some sounds turn into this like jangle, jangle, jangle. And I'm learning to live with it. Sorry, chapped lips. Not chapped, it's dry. I'm learning to live with it, but it's not good. You don't want to get this thing. And we could talk all day long about my feelings about how we're treating essential workers and all, but I'm not going to. Let's just support our progressive politicians. Support every local businessman, artisan, entrepreneur, anybody you can, because these are the people falling through the cracks. My women worldwide are falling through the cracks. We're hanging in there. We're close to falling through the cracks. So we have to support each other in this. We'll get through this pandemic. Some of us will. A bunch of you won't. A bunch of us are going to die because of bad policy procedures. And that pisses me off. But I can't live my life depressed, pissed off. So I'm going to do that part of the time, and then I'm going to compartmentalize it and put it away and go on to hopeful and energetic and optimistic and continue to build. So help me build the future, please, and I will help you. And take care. good night, and I will talk to you on Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m.